Well, thank you so much for having me today to share what we've been working on. Is called Endomo, and just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Pillhead, and I come from Chain Space, and I work for a crew called Capsule. And at Capsule, we like to create and explore pocket universes, reality expansion packs, consensual hallucinations, what your lawyer might call IP or intellectual property. The contrast or the nuance here is we want to explore how they can live on chain, how they can grow and evolve to produce emergent properties outside of our intentions as creators. And so when our friends at Lattice told us about their conception for autonomous worlds, we said, yes, this is it. We want to be part of this conspiracy. So we started to think, what can we create? What can we achieve? And our goal coming to London, to the residency, was to see if we could develop the most minimum viable world, the tiniest, smallest world we could possibly conceive of. To aid us in this task, in this journey, we created the Endomo. They are spirit creatures that live in the dream world that you and I visit every night. And we said to ourselves, okay, we have these pets, these creatures. How can we create a world on chain in which they can inhabit? How might this world grow, evolve, attain a degree of autonomy? So we thought once again, what is the smallest thing we can do, the smallest world we can achieve? And we first wanted to think about what are the fundamental building blocks of a world, of a minimum viable world. We said, okay, there must be an agent, whether an autonomous entity or a player, either individual or collective. They need to have a set of actions and an environment, a kind of shared context in which they can inhabit. And underpinning all of this, of course, a set of rules so that they can be defined how and where and what and when the agent can act upon this world, upon this environment to change its state. So we created Domogotchi. And let me see if this will work. Is this visible? Fantastic. Okay. So this was the smallest world we could conceive of that we could create. And in it, the player has a small number of actions. They can plant a number of seeds. They can then water them. And you'll notice time is changing with each player action. Time goes from the morning to the noon, to the afternoon, the evening, and the night. Once they mature, the plants mature, they can be harvested. Wait, it's not fully grown. Forgive me. I must keep going. Okay. And then we can cook them according to a set of recipes. In this case, a delicious, warm loaf of bread that can be fed to the Endomo to increase its to satiate its hunger, and more importantly, to increase this bar, this evolution meter, that allows the player to evolve their Endomo over time to unlock new abilities, actions, to grow their character, their pet. The goal, of course, here, and I'm just going to jump through these, were my backup slides, just to kind of strip away some of the ephemera, the visuals, and just to look at the core loop for a moment. This will be familiar to many of you, I am sure. It is a fundamental loop of resource production and consumption, where the player has access to a resource system that allows them to grow resources that can be crafted into some kind of more sophisticated or higher value, or more nutrient, in this case, output. through the recipe system that we lovingly borrowed from OPCraft. And then they can be consumed right now through this evolution system and mechanic, although conceivably by any other system that would be developed by us or other inhabitants of this world. And with this simple loop, we can begin to expand and grow. We can create, and when I say we, it's the royal collective we, new Endomo that have new abilities that can unearth or create new resources that unlock new recipes to produce all manner of outputs. What we call this is kind of like expanding the aperture, starting with the smallest world possible, the smallest action set, and expanding out like the aperture of a camera, stop by stop by stop, step by step by step. To us, this is currently what we think is the smallest possible means, a minimum viable world, along with a crafting system, the smallest possible means to seed autonomy. And if you're looking at the demo and you're thinking, hey, is that it? Well, yes, and that's kind of the point, because the smaller these worlds can be, the more infinitesimal, the easier they are to spin up, the faster they can grow and evolve and iterate, which means more worlds coming to life on chain. In the context of the Domogotchi, what could players or inhabitants do? They could customize the land to create new biomes, maybe new cosmetics, items like skins for new Endomo. Could they create statues and other visual trinkets or dynamic objects like a radio that streams player-made music? Could they create entirely new Endomo that unlock new loops like battling and breeding? Might they create shared novel spaces and facilitate a kind of travel between them? So for us next, we're going to release the Domogotchi, open up this crafting system, and as I said, kind of expand the aperture, seeing how we can add new functionality, new vitality to this world, so that we can answer the question, can it achieve autonomy? So that we can go from this to this, and maybe on a long enough timeline, something like this as well. I love the apple antlers are fantastic. I love them. And so if you want to play around with this, you can go to the domogotchi.endomo.com. And I want to thank everyone, all of the fantastic residents that we had the chance to hang with, of course, Azure Spark, Lattice, the whole crew. It has been a wonderful experience. And we just want to acknowledge and extend our deep gratitude and joy for participating. And of course, for sharing some of our learnings and explorations today. Thank you. I think Brazil just scored again. I'm not sure if you can hear outside, but anyway. Cool.